Hello, my name's Marsha Dan. I'm lead teacher at PlayBC Preschool, and I'm just going to do a little session with you today about sharing books. My own experience of books when I was young was that I loved them. I absolutely loved reading as a child, couldn't get enough of it. Read everything that I could lay my hands on, cover to cover, in the house. We didn't have a lot of books, but I do remember that we had a lovely set of children's encyclopedias and Bible stories. And as I say, I read them all avidly. I even tried reading the dictionary at one point. Now that I'm almost grown up, I still love reading books, don't have that much time to do it, but one of my most favourite things to do is share books with the preschool children. Hello, I can see some people joining us. That's lovely. I'm not talking to myself. Excellent. So as I say, I love reading books with the children. It's one of my most favourite things to do. And I always say to our families, if there's one thing you do with your children, it's read to them. Read, read, read. It will have a massive impact on their language and their comprehension. And when they get to school, it will unlock the whole curriculum for them. If you don't have access to a lot of books, there are some things that you can do. There's lots of online options, lots of video books. Lots of authors have been reading their own books over the lockdown period. We've read a few on Facebook ourselves. The libraries are closed at Westcroft and the Phoenix Centre, but Sutton Libraries are doing a pack of Sutton and Wallington Library are doing a pack of 6 books for preschoolers, Lucky Dip books, so that's definitely something that's worth checking out. We can also lend you some books if you're one of our families. Could be a bit tricky with the COVID situation, but I'm sure we could put some quarantine measures in place and sort that out. When you're choosing books, there are lots of things that you could be thinking about. It's good to expose your children to as wide a range of books as possible. And I came across an acronym the other week by a lady called Dr. Lakeisha Johnson, and it's MUST, for your must-have books. The M stands for multicultural, U stands for unique vocabulary, S is for story grammar, and T is for time. Hello, Stephen. So multicultural, it's really important, even more so now than ever, I think, for children to see not only themselves reflected in the pages of a book, but to see other different people reflected in books as well. And if you're looking for some tips about diverse characters, we've got a nice little video on Facebook that you can have a look at. For vocabulary, books are the best thing for developing vocabulary for your child, and you can use books to encourage your child to be a fancy Nancy. So if you are having a look at a book, think about some of the more interesting vocabulary that you can help your child to develop. So if you are reading The 3 Little Pigs, is the pig just sad that his house is blown down, or is he devastated? Is he petrified, terrified, anxious? What different words can you use to help broaden your child's vocabulary? And also on that topic, books are great for understanding emotions. That's something that's really good also. For the story grammar or structure, there are lots of things that you can talk about, where the story's taking place, what's happening, the beginning, the middle, what was a problem that happened in the middle of the book, how was it resolved, how did it all work out at the end. And the last thing, for time. They do say that children can concentrate for as many minutes as their age, but if you've ever had to read the Gruffalo to your child, you'll know that for many of them, if the book's right and they're engaged, they can ride through it. The Julia Donaldson books in particular are quite long, but the children love them. The rhyme and the repetition and the rhythm just keeps them going. So, but you know your child, you know them best of all, you know what sort of things they're interested in. And I would just say, take their interests and go with that. Just ride through the things that they are interested in. The thing that you really want is for your child to get engaged in reading. You want them to be actively participating and to see themselves as a storyteller, as a reader. And when they see themselves in that role, they will love reading to you and sharing books with you. And that is really what you want. One of the things that we find quite useful are the wordless books, like wordless books or picture books. We use them a lot in preschool. And whilst some parents do wonder about these books because they don't have any words in them, they are brilliant for allowing your child to experience success because there's no rights or wrongs. They can tell you what they can see and they can be a storyteller. So our approach to using these books is akin to something that's called dialogic reading, which is something that you'll do instinctively, really, but the approach is developed by an American psychologist. And there's some quite particular techniques for use with 2 to 3 year olds and 4 to 5 year olds. But I think the takeaway from that, the thing that you might find most useful is some prompts that will help you when you're reading stories with your children. And it's the CROWD acronym, another acronym, that will help you to think about some questions that you might ask your child when you're reading with them. So the C stands for completion. Again, this is something you'll do naturally. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house. Just leave a gap, let the child join in and participate. R stands for recall. Can you remember what happened on this page? Who was the first pig that we met? What did he build his house out of? O stands for open-ended. So if your child is at the one word level and they are just saying pig, you can extend their language. Yes, it is a pig. He's building a house made out of sticks, and encourage their language in that way. And it doesn't always have to be a question. You can just make a comment. I wonder what he's thinking. Nice and open. Again, it allows your child to experience success and not fall into worrying about giving you the answer that they think you want to hear. The W stands for questions. Where, what, why, what's the pig doing now? Where's the wolf? Why is he chasing those pigs? I think he wants to gobble them up. And the D stands for distancing. So that's really just to give your child an opportunity to think beyond the book and take it out into their context and into their everyday world. So sticking with the 3 little pigs analogy, have you ever been to the woods? If you were going to build a playhouse, what would you build it out of? Maybe don't ask them if they've ever seen a wolf. But yeah, so you can just use these as prompts to help you when you're reading. Don't do everything at once. That's a lot of information. You don't have to do everything every time. Children love hearing books again and again and again. So one time you might think about the structure, another time you might think about language, another time you might think about the setting, for example. But the main thing is keep it fun, keep it light, take it in turns if they're finding it a bit taxing. You read a page, they read a page, but just give them a chance to join in and give them a chance to be part of it. There's a saying that goes, reading and writing floats on a sea of talk. So if you can get them talking, then you're halfway there. If your child isn't into books, they might like looking at the Argos catalogue, or they might want to look at a menu, or they might want to look at a motor car magazine. Whatever they are interested in, you can use that as their way in. Get them to talk. Use that as a springboard to develop their vocabulary and, just keep them going. So that's great. I'm really glad that there's some people tuned in to see me. If anyone's got any questions, you can put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. No, I can't see any questions, but thank you. So remember that. Just keep going. Make sure you read to them and follow their interests, and if you can get them talking about books, then you are on to a winner. Thank you. Bye.